Christina Brewer, Matt Corey, and the Seattle Unity Choir. So this is the third Sunday in Advent, and we lit our third candle, which symbolizes Joseph and Mary. So I would like to revisit that affirmation, which is in our bulletin. So if you would affirm it with me, please. I am a co-creator of my own reality. Together, we co-create a new world. Let's say it again. I am a co-creator of my own reality. Together, we co-create a new world. And that is our focus this morning. So we have been working with the book Emergence by Barbara Marx Hubbard, and I've been combining it with our Christmas story and with the lighting of our Advent candles. Our first candle was for the shepherds, and that symbolizes the inner sanctuary. And it is the place that we need to go to in order to have a spiritual journey at all, because without an inner sanctuary, without that place of silence and peace within, we can't hear the voice of Spirit. We can't hear the voice of guidance. And so we lit the first candle on the first Sunday in Advent to symbolize the shepherds, who obviously created an inner sanctuary by being out in the fields at night with the sheep, and the guidance represents the angels who came to them, which led them to the awakening of the Christ. The second candle, which we lit last week, was about the wise men. And the wise men represent that within us that is wise and is following our inner star, or following our bliss, our compass of joy. We're following our passions in life. We're following our dreams. And just like the wise men, we can see that goal, we can see that dream, we can see that job or that relationship or whatever it might be, and then boom, Herod sort of steps in. And all of a sudden, we're not on the path anymore, because it is Herod who is seeking to kill the Christ, even though he is pretending to be a friend of the wise men. And so we see Herod as the ego Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth said that the pain body I see as Herod. And the pain body is when we start to tell ourselves some negative story about ourselves or the world or other people, and then it begins to build, and pretty soon we are lost in this realm of pain bodiness and misery and unhappiness. And then we want to have everyone kind of join in with us in that. And he said the way that we work through our pain body is not to run from our pain, but rather to feel it, to embrace it, and then to let it go. Another way of saying that is just to be in the moment, yeah? To be in the now, whatever it is presenting to us. So today we light the candle for Joseph and for Mary. Joseph and Mary represent the co-creative process within, that we co-create a new world, that we co-create our reality. And we see creativity. We honored it today in our service with our tapestries and our music and our singing and all of the different ways that we are creative. But we're also creative in the way that we show up, in the way that we give to life. So when we look closer, Joseph represents our inner masculine, our inner authority. It represents the protector, the provider that is within us. So a question that I would have is, how comfortable are you with authority? How do you deal with authority? How did you deal with your own father? Because to own Joseph, to own our inner Joseph, is to own our own inner authority. Mary represents the feminine aspect of God and of ourselves. It is nurturing, it is compassionate, and in seeking the Christ, in seeking an awakening, we balance those two energies. We balance the energy of Joseph and Mary. And our world is calling for a balance. Now, we've had a wonderful service with great music. I love your energy, Matt, and bringing us up. And I'm going to turn the service a little bit more serious now. And I want you to know that we can hold all those energies. We can hold joy, and we can hold sadness, and we can hold all of it together because we are complex beings. And it is part of the spiritual journey is how do we remain joyful and centered and peaceful, and how do we celebrate this incredible Spirit of God that dwells within and all around, and how do we show up in the world? How do we see what is and respond to it? We need to co-create a new world. Again, it is our focus today. Since Friday, we have been saturated with the horrible incident that happened in Newtown, Connecticut. It is an affluent town on the East Coast, and it had been called the safest place in America. And yet on Friday, 20 children, ages 6 and 7, and 8 adults, teachers, all women, were shot, were massacred. And the truth is, this is a story that we have heard way too many times, have we not? We have heard it. We heard it in Tucson, Arizona. We've had it here at Seattle at a coffee shop this summer, a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, a Sikh temple in Milwaukee, a spa in Wisconsin, a mall in Portland, and then Newtown, Connecticut. And every time it happens, we shake our heads, we say our prayers, we light candles, we hold them in our hearts in compassion, and we say why, and then it seems to happen again. And for some reason, this incident hit us particularly hard. And I think it's for a number of reasons. One is it's Christmas. It's the time that we celebrate the birth of a baby. We celebrate innocence. We celebrate the awakening. And this whole Birth 2012, we're celebrating the evolvement and the awakening of humanity. And yet there's opposite things that are happening. And it seems as just as Herod sought to kill the Christ child, we are facing Herod in another way, that is seeking to kill the Christ consciousness that is awakening and developing within us, and our pain bodies have been activated. And again, as Eckhart Tolle says, don't run from it, feel it, invite it in, be in the moment, be what is, and then we can deal with it and take action and let it go. So we feel the pain of the parents whose lives have been devastated. And we can send our prayers, we can send our love, we can light our candles, and still their children are not coming home. Their children are gone. So we must co-create a new world. And what I believe is that changes can happen quickly. When we co-create together, when we put our minds together, we can make changes like that. We saw it with even though it took a while, the referendum 74, that, it feels to me like there's a domino effect that has started, and once it starts, you can't stop it. You can't stop love. You can't stop awakening. And so we're called to co-create a new world. I mean, how many assault weapons do we need, really? How many assault weapons do we need? And I know the standard line is, well, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, yeah, that's true. However, if you've got a knife or a fist, at least you have a chance. At least you can fight it out. But when we're responding to the pain body with guns and assault rifles, and to babies, to little children, there's not a whole lot of things that you can do, and it happens fast, and you can't come back from that. On the same day, on Friday, in China, outside of a school, some children were waiting to go into their school, and 22 children were stabbed by a madman in China. And 2 of those kids are in serious condition, and they're alive. Now, granted, they're scarred, they're wounded, they're going to have to deal with this for the rest of their lives, but they're alive. There's a chance. Again, with a gun, there is no discussion, there is no chance. And yet, I again believe that as we come together, we can change things very quickly, and we can co-create a new world. The good news is that we felt this pain from this recent shooting without even trying. Have you noticed that? I mean, I've seen an outpouring of grief like I haven't seen since 9/11, and I think that's a good thing. Because what it means is the Mary in us, the intuition, the compassion, the Mary in us has been activated. We got it. And there's no separation between those parents and us, between those children and us. And the truth is, though, there are children that are dying all over the world. And we need to feel that as much as we feel Connecticut or our own country. In Pakistan, our drone attacks have killed 185 kids. Those parents are in as much agony as our parents in Connecticut are. They are just as devastated. So I want you to hold in this holiday, I want you to hold the joy, and I want you to hold the sadness, and I want us to hold together that there's a solution, that there is a co-creative answer to this. Because Mary and Joseph are calling each one of us. Mary and Joseph are calling us because the world needs our authority and our compassion. The world needs us to stand in that place of strength and knowing. And that's what Barbara Marx Hubbard is asking us to do in Emergence. She's saying, make that shift from calling in the Spirit to being that. From calling in the authority to being that authority and standing in that. And that's what the shift is about. That's what this whole 2012 birth thing is talking about, is that we finally awaken to the Christ and we stand in that. So our inner authority, your inner Joseph, my inner Joseph, needs to come out and play, needs to come out and speak, needs to come out and make a stand. Now we have been, over the last couple of weeks, we've been doing writings, and I know some of you are bringing journals, and I think it's important to do it because it helps anchor in what we're talking about. So, we're moving to the experiential part of the service, and there is paper in the pews, and you do not have to participate, but I want to let you know that if you want to, we have paper, the ushers have more paper, and it's a very simple start line, but I want us to touch into the inner authority of Joseph. So if you want paper, I need you to raise your hand so the usher can see you. And if you're not going to write, then I invite you just to hold in your heart what we're talking about and what we're doing. And keep your hand up until they find you. They are coming around. So we are embracing Mary and Joseph, the inner Mary and Joseph. So I invite you to turn your attention within, and we begin with Mary. So just hold your heart, if you will. And I invite you to hold in your heart the families who were affected in Connecticut. Send them your love. Your healing energy. We send it also to the parents in China, Pakistan. So in our Mary compassion, nurturing, we nurture. And now take a deep breath and shift to your Joseph, the inner male, your authority. And here's your start line. The way to end violence in America is. The way, and remember, the Joseph in you is speaking. You are the authority on this subject. The way to end violence in America is. A different twist, but the same, is the way to bring peace to America is. The way to bring peace to America is. Just write enough so that you know. And staying in this place of Joseph of authority, the way to end violence in the world is. The way to bring peace in the world is. And so I invite you to take a deep breath and see that combination of Mary and Joseph being totally at balance in you. The authority and the nurturing compassion. And I'd like to hear. I have a microphone. The way to end violence in America is.
True love establishes limits. There's behaviors that are not acceptable. The difficulty is in negotiating exactly what those limits are.
The way to end violence in America is.
To address the rugged individual myth and to consider the community as the value of our society.
Can you shout it out or come?
Say the way to end violence and bring peace is to end the violence within ourselves and cultivate peace within ourselves.
You can say amen whenever. The way to bring peace in the world is.
The way to bring peace in the world is to have governments represent the humblest of their citizens.
Amen, sister. Jay, were you going to say something? You are now.
Sharon. The way to end violence in America is to create a critical mass of persons committed to changing the mindset of this country in regards to firearms.
Thank you.
The way to end violence in America is to be present, compassionate, loving, and have every action contribute to the positive energy of the universe.
Amen. Andy?
For each individual to open our eyes, our hearts, and help each other and hold ourselves accountable. And hopefully it comes full circle back.
She's going to be a new mommy in January.
The way to end violence in America is through love. People who love and are loved are not violent. People who commit violent acts do not feel loved. Love everyone.
Stephen?
The way to end violence in America is facilitating peace and goodwill, well-being, a profitable, honorable endeavor that can be called the true work of a hero.
Thank you. Okay, one more, and then we're stopping. Anne? Can you pass that down to her?
Hi. The way to end violence in America is to keep your commitment as parents, always being supportive with loving solutions for all childhood situations. Don't abandon your tasks.
Thank you. Bring that back. Thank you. So I want you to just really take in and hear the wisdom that was spoken in this room, and I know that we all each have our own ideas and wisdom about this. And what I heard when y'all spoke was you spoke from authority. You spoke from that inner Joseph, and that's what we need now. I think we've got Mary. We're getting our compassion. I think we've got loving kindness and compassion, and now we need to combine it with Joseph. I invite you to come on Saturday from 1 to 3:30 or 4, because it is in shifting times like this that we need community when we come together on Sunday and worship. But we're going to anchor in the experience of the shift that's taken place through chanting, through ritual, through group discussion, and through experiential exercises. If you have been in a home group, I invite you to come with your whole home group so that you can be together. And if you come singly, we're going to create a wonderful experience on Saturday to help anchor this in. So know that we can hold all emotions. We can handle the joy of Christmas and singing, and we can handle the sadness and grief all at once, because we're very complex beings. And things can change very quickly when we come together and we decide that it should change, and we stand in that authority. I believe that together we can co-create a new world where children are safe, not only in the United States, but in the world. We can co-create a world that is awakening. And we can co-create a world that the shepherds heard about 2,000 years ago when the angels said, "Peace on earth, goodwill toward all humankind." May it be so. Amen. There you go.